Hi, I'm Dr. Carey. I'm a clinical psychologist and youth sports coach. Obviously, it's basketball season. If you have a child with ADHD, executive function issues, or even a younger player, it can often be really challenging to understand certain aspects of the game. So with basketball, one great strategy, and you can do this at home, is to get, a board like this. And so what you can do is help your child to be able to better understand what's going on, during practices and games by mapping out visually outside of the actual activity. Because even if your coach has this kind of board during practice or game, it's usually fairly fast in terms of what's being shown. And so for a lot of kids, if they need that extra time to really slow it down and process it, helping them at home could be great. And so what I'm going to show you right now is a real basic understanding of how basketball works as far as the players. Because even for kids that have been playing for a couple years, if they don't really understand what positions actually do, and you would be surprised that there are a lot of kids that have been playing for several years that they're not playing at a very high level, may have like a basic understanding in theory of what maybe some position does, but a lot of times maybe really don't get it. And sometimes being able to actually understand it more clearly can make a huge difference in how someone plays. So let's try to keep this very simple. Okay, all right, so let's take a look. So a lot of times when you see a board like this, oftentimes it looks something like this to start. Give me a sec. All the magnets sometimes take a sec to put. Okay. So sometimes you might see as a starting point something like this. The problem for a lot of kids is that, they see here are a bunch of numbers on this board, but it's sort of too much information to even process to start. So let's slow it down even more. Okay. So right now we have player number one. One in basketball represents what's called the point guard. And so the point guard's job is they really run the offense. They bring the ball up court. They direct the offense. Obviously, when kids are younger, they're maybe not directing these quite as much. But in theory, the point guard is they're kind of like the quarterback. Like if you're using a football analogy, the point guard is kind of like the quarterback in basketball. They basically kind of bring the ball up, they direct things, and their goal really is to, in a lot of cases, get the ball closer to the basket for someone to shoot. Obviously, in some cases, they may get the ball back and shoot themselves, or if they have a clear shot, take it. But the idea is that their goal really is to move the ball further up. So that's one. So the second player in this is called the shooting guard. And so what the shooting guard's job is, and again, it's a little different as you get older, but in general, the idea is that they tend to take a lot of outside shots from farther away. They often help the point guard with bringing the ball up and moving it closer to the basket. So think about 1 and 2 as the point guard and the shooting guard. Their goal, they take usually farther shots, but they also really help get the ball closer to the basket. They basically help deliver the ball to players that are closer to the basket. Because if you think about the probability of the ball going in, the closer someone is to the basket when they shoot or doing a layup, it increases the likelihood that the ball is going to go in. Okay, so we have the point guard and the shooting guard. So next we have the small forward. All right, so the small forward is, if you like soccer, it's kind of like the midfielder in soccer. It's the idea that they're very versatile. So they can dribble well, they can shoot. They're kind of doing a little bit of everything. They're working on getting the ball closer to the basket. They're taking shots. They're rebounding. They're doing a lot of different things. And then so we have player number 4 is the power forward. And so they play a little bit closer. They play a little bit closer to the basket overall. So, they help a lot with rebounds. They take closer in shots. So there's a lot that they do, but their goal is more scoring than ball handling. But again, everyone sort of has to handle the ball. And then we have the 5th player, the center. So the center's job is stereotypically, they're the tallest or one of the tallest players. Obviously, at the youth level, that's not always how you do it. But again, they're usually a somewhat bigger player, or at least dominant in terms of just their aggressiveness. Basically, their goal is to get really short shots in, be there to grab rebounds, and obviously on defense to block the ball. So what we have here is we have basically all 5 positions. So we have the point guard, number 1. We have the shooting guard, number 2. We have the small forward, number 3. We have the power forward, number 4. And we have the center, number 5. So obviously, as you see here, in the act of shooting or rebounding, 5 would move to here. But because of the fact that in a lot of leagues when you get older, you can't really be in what's called the lane. So this area for more than 3 seconds, unless you're actively shooting or in the act of shooting, usually number 5 is not going to stay on offense, in the box. But so the point is that basically by breaking down the different positions one at a time, it can really help your child to better understand how it works. Because even if you have watched a lot of basketball and So to see everyone move around, the problem is with the executive functioning piece, it's a lot to break down when you're watching it. So going really step by step and really understanding each position can really make a huge difference in understanding how basketball works even more. And in turn, that can really improve a child's how they play in the game and their just understanding, which in turn also translates into playing better and greater awareness on the court. So I hope this is helpful to you in working with your child. And again, you can buy these boards pretty cheaply online or lots of sporting goods stores, but they really can be extremely helpful as a way to just even at home, just really to better understand the game. So hope everyone has fun this weekend with any sports or other activities you may be doing.